Chapter 8. Which Gatekeeper is the one who lies? Miu stood outside the dorms, waiting for the person she was calling to pick up. "Hello, dear," her mother sang. "Is everything all right?" "I know it's late, Mom, but do you have a quick minute to talk?" She leaned on the railing with her elbows. "Of course." He was probably on a job right now. It made her feel just a bit guilty. However, she knew that it really wouldn't matter in the long run. "I'm just tidying up right now. So what's the matter? I expected you home by now. And here I thought my daughter personified punctuality. The job's a cake." She twirled a lock of hair. "It's in the bag. It's just that. Well, there's one minor problem." "Really?" He sounded too amused for his own good. "A real pain in my ass. I can't decide if he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, or if it's just that his bark is worse than his bite. Well, either way, guess it doesn't really matter." Her mom began to laugh. "What now?" "It's funny. It's just so unlike you to be showing any fear at all." "I'm not afraid of him." "It is through adversary that children grow, although it is a little bittersweet." She heard 2 quick discharges of his silencer. "Your daddy is really missing his baby girl, however, so hurry home soon." "Only daddy?" "Of course, Mommy misses you too." "That's what I thought. And just you wait, Mom. I'm gonna bring home tons of souvenirs for you and Daddy." Miu stared up at the moon with a smile. "Oh, by the way, where would you like to live after you retire? Somewhere in the Alps or a beach in the Caribbean?" "This generation's class black has proved to be quite interesting." The blonde-haired woman sitting at the desk chuckled. "I have to say, your hard work has truly paid off, Tsumugi. To think that only 3 still remain." There's 4. Tsumugi pointed at herself. "I'm still in there too." "Yes, that's true," the woman chuckled. "Sorry." It's okay." She tapped a few buttons, 3 icons appearing on the screen in front of her. "Considering the nature of Miss Akamatsu's wish, I don't foresee her making a move until the very end," she mused. "The next play, then, will either be made by Miss Iruma or Mr. Saihara. Iruma desires money, while Saihara desires—" "Nothing!" Tsumugi chirped. "Oh my!" The blonde woman smiled unsettlingly. "Then we're in for quite a show." "So, any thoughts?" Tsumugi linked her hands behind her back. "Kokichi Ouma or Kaito Momota?" "They certainly show promise." She tapped a finger on her lips. "As it stands, there may very well rise a new queen bee in the end. But then again, there may not." "So you're still not sure?" "No. Who can say what tomorrow will bring? For that is the nature of our little endeavor." The blonde-haired woman leaned on her elbow, grinning at the icons of Kokichi and Kaito in front of her. "This does take me back, though. I'm reminded of my own time as a young girl in class black." "How many days did it take you to graduate?" "Only 6. A few more taps of the keys, and a map came up. "I see there's a storm on its way." "It's gotten really lonely these past few days, hasn't it?" Kokichi asked. He was seated in the bath, while Kaito was using the nearby shower. "Everywhere we go is quiet now. It feels like we're the only 2 here anymore." "And that's a good thing," the taller boy reminded him. "We can bathe without worrying now. I call that a plus." "Geez, you're so cold, Kaito," he whined. The door burst open, and Shin shouted, "Well, look who is here!" Kokichi jumped and sank further into the water. "Oh, no need to be shy. Does it really look like I'd hurt ya?" The grin he sent his way didn't make him feel any better. "Must be my lucky day to see you 2 at the bath." Shin blew dry his hair as the other 2 got changed. "You never really come here much. It's a shame to waste a good bath like this one. So then Shin, you always bathe here? Kokichi asked. You bet! He ran a hand through his dark hair. Shuichi likes 'em big. Bigger is better. He paused for a moment. Now that I think about it, Samugi and Kaede haven't used this bath yet either. Maybe they've got scars to hide. He turned with that same creepy grin. What do you think? He didn't want to give an answer. The three walked back to their dorm rooms, Shin chugging a glass of fruit milk. Man, Shuichi's been busting my ass lately, he cackled. I've been telling him he just needs to back off and relax. Why? Kokichi tilted his head. What's wrong? You see, he'd been locked up for a long time as a kid, he explained. He never did nothing, like go to school and stuff like that. So, I was hoping he'd get the most out of this while he still could, you know? This is really his first time to do something normal in life, for a change. But hell, he might have a point. It's time. He stopped in front of his dorm, the one he shared with Kaede. Okay. Night-night, boys. Sweet dreams. The next fight's with him. Kaito frowned. Watch. The smaller boy gasped and looked at him with wide eyes. That's just how it is. There are only 3 left. But once we've dealt with them, it'll be over and done with. Isn't it your dream? Live long enough to graduate from Class Black? What about you? The question took the taller boy off guard. Once we've graduated from here, what are you going to do? He hadn't thought about it before. He really hadn't had the time between schoolwork and protecting Kokichi. Let's go to bed. In the depths of some dark place, 2 boys were sitting with their backs to each other. I really hate seeing you like this, Shin sighed. After all, the only reason that I'm here is to make you smile. I want it, Shuichi whimpered. My trophy. I have it already, but it doesn't mean anything yet. My trophy. I want my trophy. I want it. I want it now. It needs value. Please hurry. Please. All right. I've heard enough. Shin stood up and turned around. You've been real patient all this time. Well then, like always. He cupped his counterpart's cheeks. You just leave everything to me. Mr. Shin? A soft voice called him out of his head. Shin glanced back at Kaede, questioningly. I just brewed a fresh pot of tea. Would you care for a cup with me? She asked. She moved to the side, the light from the lamp barely shifting in her eyes. Yeah, sure. What a surprise this is. You've declined all my previous invitations without fail. Yeah, well, what can I say? He walked over to the lamp, turning the shade so the light wasn't shining his way anymore. They sat across from each other, listening to the wind beginning to pick up. It would seem that the typhoon is quickly approaching. Kaede took a sip from her cup. Landfall is likely tomorrow afternoon. That's cool, he shrugged, picking up his cup. It'll make my party kick ass. Ah, so we're toasting in your honor tonight? Doesn't have to be just my honor. Parties are more fun when more people show up to 'em. Yes, but Right. You wouldn't get nothing doing it that way, would ya? But there's no way I'm gonna let that hold me back. He made a move to bring the cup to his mouth, only to realize that, somehow, he'd broken it. Oh, my bad. I guess sometimes I don't know my own strength. Please, think nothing of it. Everything is destined for ruin in the end. Kaito couldn't get Kokichi's question from the other night out of his head. After we graduate from here, what are you going to do? He was sure that Kokichi would return to the world of broad daylight after graduation. But what was he to do? Where would he return to? Once class was over, they were highly encouraged to just go straight back to their dorms. That was what he was intending to do. Let's try and get back before it rains, Kaito peered up at the sky. Leave the rain to me and my old trusty umbrella. Kokichi raised the collapsed cylinder in the air. There's no way that thing doesn't rip. Hey, it's not that bad right now. The smaller boy opened it up. A piece of red paper fell to the ground. It landed face up, with the text staring up at them. Student number 12, Shuichi Saihara. The rain began falling as they sprinted back to the dorms. The sun hasn't set yet, but once it does, that's when Shin will awaken. Kaito panted breathlessly. Things are gonna get bad fast. At least the typhoon gives us an excuse to lock ourselves in our room. Good point. But you're getting soaked. Kokichi's little legs, surprisingly, were able to keep up with him even at speed. I'll be fine. They ran all the way to the dorms, just in time to see Miu shutting her umbrella. She glanced back at them with her usual nonchalance. Wow, it's really coming down, huh? She grinned. Yeah, but you're completely dry, Kokichi pointed out. Sure am. That's when he noticed the weapon in her hands. Look out! Kaito yanked the smaller boy back by his scarf as Miu lunged at him with a knife. The two assassins began trading blows with each other. Nice moves, the blonde-haired assassin spat. She was able to land a solid cut to one of his shoulders, forcing him to switch hands and move back. You're bleeding! Kokichi's eyes widened. I'm surprised you noticed. Miu held up her weapon, a knife with a special handle that made gripping it easy. You didn't give an advance notice, Kaito growled. You broke the rules. Yeah, right. She rolled her eyes. Don't tell me you didn't get it. What? The umbrella. The advance notice from Shuichi. It might not have been from Shuichi at all. The blonde-haired assassin cackled and lurched forward. Acting fast, Kaito threw a handful of mud at her face, turning and grabbing the smaller boy's hand and sprinting away. My name is Isuke Iruma. Little one, your name is now Miu Iruma. From here on out, I will be your parent. Do you understand? You're going to be okay. The little girl that was Miu before all this glanced behind the man that she would call mother, at the dead man and woman on the floor. I know, I get that. That person was your parent, but that doesn't change the fact that they would have left you to die. So, I really had no other choice. Now, let's get going. You don't want to be here. Come on. She takes his hand. I'll keep you close to me, so you can help me if you want. Be Mommy's little helper. And then, follow in my footsteps.
Your footsteps?
That's right. My work is very important. Being a professional assassin. Being a killer for a living. She grips his hand tighter. Please, just wait for me a little longer. Miu tightened her grip on her knives as she looked up at the sky. Please, Mom. I promise you that Mommy's little helper will be coming home really soon. With no other choice, Kaito and Kokichi ran to the school. They barricaded themselves inside a classroom. The smaller boy insisted on wrapping the wound around his arm the second he got the chance. Kaito pushed boxes and chairs in front of the door, then turned back to him. Let me see your cell phone, he commanded. Kokichi did so with a puzzled expression. If anything happens, text me right away. Otherwise, stay here where it's safe. He unlocked the window and began climbing out. Kaito! Don't worry, I'll take out Miu. How can you say that with your injury? Why won't you let me help you? You get in the way. He didn't miss the flash of hurt across the smaller boy's face. He didn't have time to dwell on it or explain. He was protecting him this way. He climbed fully out of the window, closing it behind him. Kaito dropped down onto one level of the rafters outside the building. He broke a window into what appeared to be an art room. Then he began running down the hallway. He thought back to his fight with Miu. Even in that split second, he could see her movements. So, how did she manage to cut him? She saw his attack. But how? He heard the distant whoosh of a knife, dodging Miu's attack just in time. She kept slashing at him until she finally was able to kick him in the gut and shove him back. He jumped back up to his feet and glared at her. "You know, I find it hard to be frightened." Her grin widened. "When I know your attacks have no chance of actually killing me. Kill shots. You avoid them unconsciously. You won't strike anywhere that could leave a fatal wound, 'cause you know if you did, you'd freeze on the spot." He grit his teeth as she began to laugh. Damn it, she actually remembered that from their first encounter. "It's so ridiculous. You've got everybody on edge just because you're a great and powerful Momota. None of them suspect that you're actually a virgin. Just imagine the looks on their faces if they ever found out the truth." She angled her finger